The sound of laughter echoed down the hallway, sharp and biting. It wasn't the kind that made you smile, it was the kind that made your stomach twist. Emma paused outside her stepmom's bedroom, her fingers clutching her phone tightly. She'd heard that laugh before, usually followed by something cruel. But this time, she was ready. "Oh, please," came Stephanie's voice, dripping with amusement. "That picture of her on the mantel? Honestly, it's embarrassing. I mean, who wears their hair like that?" She looked like she just rolled out of bed. Emma's chest tightened. Her. Stephanie never said Mom's name. Not once. It was always her or your mother, spoken with a sneer that made it clear she thought even mentioning her was a waste of time. "And that dress," Stephanie continued, her tone mocking. What was she trying to be? Some kind of 80s reject? No wonder your dad remarried. He probably couldn't stand being seen with her. Emma's hand trembled as she held up her phone, pressing record. She'd had enough. The way Stephanie talked about Mom, the way she always found a way to bring her down, even years after she was gone, it wasn't right. And Emma wasn't going to let it slide anymore. The door creaked open, and Stephanie froze mid-sentence, her gaze snapping to Emma. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice icy. Emma stepped into the room, her chin held high. "I heard you," she said, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. "I heard everything." Stephanie's eyes narrowed. "So what?" "Everyone knows she was a mess. Your dad included." "You think he doesn't agree with me?" Emma's grip on her phone tightened. "He loved her," she said, her voice low. "And you don't get to talk about her like that. Not in this house." Stephanie let out a short, humorless laugh. "Your house?" she repeated, stepping closer. "Sweetie, this is my house now. Your mom's gone, and so is anything she left behind. You're just going to have to get used to it." Emma's heart pounded, but she didn't back down. "We'll see," she said, holding up her phone. "Once Dad hears this, we'll see whose house it really is." For a moment, Stephanie looked caught off guard. Then her lips twisted into a smirk. "You think he'll believe you over me?" she asked, her tone mocking. "Go ahead. Play it for him. He'll probably laugh." Emma didn't respond. She turned on her heel and walked out of the room, her phone still recording. She could feel Stephanie's eyes on her back, but she didn't care. All that mattered now was getting to Dad. She found him in his office, hunched over his desk with a stack of papers in front of him. He looked up when she walked in, his expression softening. "Hey, Em," he said, setting down his pen. "Everything okay?" Emma hesitated for a moment, then held up her phone. "I need you to listen to something," she said, her voice quiet but firm. Her dad frowned but nodded, gesturing for her to come closer. Emma hit play, and Stephanie's voice filled the room, sharp and cutting. As the recording played, Emma watched her dad's face carefully. At first, he just looked confused. Then, as Stephanie's words sank in, his expression darkened. When the recording ended, the room was silent. Her dad sat back in his chair, his jaw tight. For a long moment, he didn't say anything. Then he looked at Emma, his voice quiet but intense. "Is this how she talks about your mom?" Emma nodded, her throat tight. "All the time," she whispered. Her dad stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "Stay here," he said, his voice firm. Then he walked out of the room, his footsteps heavy. Emma followed him, hovering in the doorway as he stormed into the living room where Stephanie was now sitting on the couch, flipping through a magazine like nothing had happened. "Stephanie," her dad said, his voice low and dangerous. "We need to talk." Stephanie looked up, her expression innocent. "About what?" she asked, her tone sweet. Her dad held up Emma's phone. "About this." Stephanie's eyes flicked to the phone, and for a moment, she looked uncertain. Then she smiled, her expression calm. "Oh, that," she said, waving a hand dismissively. "Emma's just being dramatic. You know how teenagers are. This isn't about Emma being dramatic, her dad said, his voice rising. This is about you disrespecting my late wife, my daughter's mother, in my own home. Stephanie's smile faltered. You're overreacting, she said, her tone defensive. She's been gone for years. It's not like she can hear me. But I can hear you, her dad snapped. And so can Emma. And I won't let you stay here if this is how you're going to act. Stephanie's eyes widened. You're kicking me out, she asked, her voice incredulous. If you can't show respect, her dad said, his tone firm, then yes. Stephanie stood up, her magazine falling to the floor. You're choosing her over me? She demanded, pointing at Emma. She's just a kid. You're going to throw away our relationship because of some stupid recording? Her dad's jaw tightened. It's not about choosing, he said. It's about doing what's right. Stephanie stared at him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Then she laughed, a short, bitter sound. Fine, she said, grabbing her purse from the couch. But don't come crawling back to me when you realize what a mistake this is. She stormed past Emma without another word, her heels echoing on the hardwood floor. The slam of the front door shook the house, and then everything was silent. Emma's dad let out a long breath, running a hand through his hair. I'm sorry, Em, he said, his voice quiet. I should have realized what was going on sooner. Emma shook her head. It's not your fault, she said softly. But, thank you. For sticking up for Mom. Her dad pulled her into a hug, his arms tight around her. Always, he murmured. No one gets to talk about her like that. Not ever. They stood there for a moment, the silence heavy but comforting. Then her dad pulled back, his expression serious. We're going to be okay, he said. You know that, right? Emma nodded, though her heart was still racing. Yeah, she whispered. We will. But as her dad went back to his office, leaving her alone in the living room, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end. Stephanie wasn't the type to just walk away quietly. Whatever came next, Emma knew she needed to be ready. She glanced down at her phone, still clutched tightly in her hand. The recording was still there, a reminder of what Stephanie had said, and what she was capable of. Emma took a deep breath, slipping the phone into her pocket. Whatever happened next, she wouldn't let Stephanie win. Not when it came to Mom. The sound of a car engine roared outside, and Emma tensed. She walked to the window, peering through the curtains just in time to see Stephanie's car speeding down the driveway. Her heart pounding, Emma turned away from the window, her mind racing. What would Stephanie do next? And more importantly, how could Emma protect herself?